Welcome. This is the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. This podcast is a safe place for us to have weekly discussions about mental health, Christ, personal development, and the tools to live our best lives. Stay tuned for a new episode. So hey, beautiful people, this is your host, Lauren Green, and welcome back to another episode of the Mentally Whole podcast. If this is your first time hearing me or listening to a show, I appreciate you and thank you for listening, because you did not have to press play and sit here and listen to me, right? So I have received, before we get into today's episode and things like that, don't forget to subscribe, share, rate, and review the show. So lately I have received, text messages from people that I know, or messages from people on Messenger about how they love the show. So I want to thank you guys, each and every one of you, for listening. Old and new listeners, thank you for listening to the show. If there's a topic that you want to discuss, or if you want me to discuss it further, you can email me at you can email me. The email address will be in the show notes. Or if you feel more comfortable with just DMing me, my DMs are open for dialogue about the show. So yeah, I love to hear you guys' feedback. So today we are talking about self-esteem and knowing our worth. Okay, I feel like this is a necessary topic as we move into 2021. So I think it's important to talk about self-esteem as we move into 2021 and knowing our worth, because self-esteem impacts our relationships. Self-esteem impacts the decisions that we make. Self-esteem impacts the risk, right? The moves that we make in the earth, right? It impacts literally everything. So self-esteem, I looked up the definition. So self-esteem is confidence and satisfaction in oneself. The other definition that I found was confidence in one's worth and abilities, right? So since confidence was in both of those definitions, I looked up confidence. So confidence means a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So to break down self-esteem even further, right? So self-esteem, to break it down further with our definition of confidence, self-esteem means that you are self-assured, right? You are self-assured, and the self-assurance arises from your appreciation of your own abilities or qualities, right? So are you self-assured about your own abilities and qualities? Are you self-assured about what you bring to the table, right? Do you appreciate your unique strengths and capabilities, right? So in preparing for this episode, I asked myself a question. So I asked myself, so how does someone how does someone have low self-esteem, right? How does that work? How does that develop? So when I was researching again, the first article that I found said, look at your childhood, right? Feelings of self-worth start in childhood, right? So were you acknowledged for the good things that you did as a child? Were you only acknowledged when you did something right? Were you only acknowledged when you received good grades? Were you only acknowledged when you did bad things or negative things, right? Pay attention to how self-worth was developed in your early years of your life. Pay attention to the things that you were praised for and not praised for as a child. Another area that low self-esteem can start, look at school and your teachers, right? I know some teachers, even parents have, told their children, or adults have told children, like, you'll never amount to anything. You're not good enough. You can't do certain things because of X, Y, and Z. Did, someone tell you that in your lifetime? Right? Another way that low self-esteem can form is through toxic relationships, right? Were you in in an abusive relationship? Did you witness domestic violence when you were a child? Did people just, sow seeds of negativity in your life as a child or even as an adult, right? So my other question, so before we move into, how can we improve our self-esteem, I was looking up, positive affirmations and things like that. And so I found an article that talked about the science of behavior change, right? The science of behavior change and the importance of repetition, right? So there's a term called neuroplasticity. So y'all had to Google this because I haven't, been in Psych 101 or Psych 102 in a really long time. So neuroplasticity is also known as neuroplasticity or brain plasticity. It's the ability of neural networks in the brain to change through growth and reorganization. I got this from Wikipedia, so don't judge me. These changes range from individual neurons making new connections to systematic adjustments like cortical remapping, right? Examples of neuroplasticity include circuit and network changes that result from learning a new ability, environmental influences, practice, and psychological stress, right? So basically all of those fancy words basically mean that your brain has the capacity to change and reorganize and grow. Right? So neural pathways are comprised of neurons connected by dendrites, right? And neural pathways are created in the brain based on our habits and behaviors, right? The number of dendrites increases with the frequency a behavior is performed, right? So for example, reading, driving, brushing your teeth, those have very strong neural pathways because this is something that we do all the time. All right. And just because you already have formed neural pathways, it doesn't mean that certain habits are stuck with you forever. Right? So how can we improve our self-esteem? So self-esteem is a internal work, meaning you have to do the work to improve your self-esteem. Someone can hype you up all day, give you 10,000 compliments all day, but if you don't believe it yourself, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other, right? Self-esteem is an internal work, first and foremost. Next thing, be your own hype woman or hype man. Encourage yourself. Give yourself a pep talk in the mirror. I do it every day almost. Like, oh girl, you cute today. Girl, I know. So yeah, be your own hype woman every day. Give yourself pep talks, right? The next thing, become aware of your self-talk. Are you speaking positivity in your life? Are you speaking negativity in your life? Like what is your thought life like? Another thing, challenge your thoughts, right? We have to challenge our thoughts. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is this thought factual? Challenge those thoughts because sometimes your thoughts are not true. Replace negative thoughts with positive thoughts, right? Write affirmations down. So during the pandemic, I bought some Post-it notes and I put affirmations on my mirror. So some examples of positive affirmations that I wrote are: I am beautiful, I'm a masterpiece, I'm whole, I'm healed, my voice matters, and it's important. So in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to the song, a YouTube link to the song that inspired the I'm a masterpiece affirmation. I think you guys would really enjoy it because I love that song so much. It's important to repeat your affirmations every day. Affirmations help to renew your mind. How we think affects our mood, right? And then our mood affects our actions, right? Everything's connected, right? So our thoughts affect our mood, and our mood, ultimately affects our actions and what we do. So affirmations help to renew your mind, and with repetition of your affirmations, you will eventually create a new neural pathway in your brain. Essentially, you are reorganizing your brain the more you repeat your affirmations to yourself, right? So I hope this episode blessed you. I know it was kind of jam-packed with information, but I hope it blessed you. So be on the lookout for new episodes. Okay, bye.